Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Monday night, 7 o'clock in Phoenix. So, of course, what are we here for? We are here for Insights with Alicia, my very, very favorite time of the week. I love getting together with you guys every Monday. It really is something that I look forward to all week long. And then we get to do it and get together and clicking all the buttons. Perfect. And just getting rid of all of those. So hopefully the weather is nice where you are. It's been raining in Phoenix here, which fair warning, I do have a headache and some brain fog. So if any of the stuff I'm saying tonight doesn't make sense, make sure you tell me in the chat because I'm a little spicy, more than usual, right? More than the blonde that's usually on the live stream here. But yeah, it is. Oh, great. We got other Phoenicians here. And I know we have one other person who's up in Seattle. She's a former Phoenician. I was looking at the weather app today and our weather is pretty similar right now. So yes, we are here for Insights with Alicia. What do we do every week? We gather to learn and connect. I often say things and people want to know more about it. They love the insight from the scientific psychic. So there are so many things that I've experienced in my life that have transformed my life. And I just love being able to share these insights with everyone, not just my clients. And every Monday night, we talk about relationships, our behavior, life skills, so many things that will literally change your life and ideas to support and help create those changes. And let's not forget about the animals because we talk about them too. And for those of you that don't know, I'm Alicia Sweezer, owner of Who Knew Healing. I am an intuitive life coach, animal consultant, communicator, psychic medium, intuitive mentor, and I provide healing and growth opportunities for people and animals. It is my absolute pleasure and privilege to be able to do what I do for a living. You guys know it's not what I thought I'd always be doing. Thought I'd be a wildlife biologist forever, and yet I get to do this now. So I have one of those hairs. You know what I mean? I look like a weirdo. For those of you listening as a podcast on Spotify, Apple, or any of the other platforms, welcome. And if you'd like the video version, please visit my YouTube channel under Alicia Sweezer, or even better, join us on Monday nights. I would love to have you all. Those of you watching on Facebook, if you'd like to comment, please join us by the Zoom link because I can't see the Facebook comments right now. So perfect. Thank you all for joining in. Hopefully you've got your favorite drink with you as we chat. I just have some water tonight. I haven't made tea in a long time, I know. But I am going to need the water because I may lose my voice halfway through too. Not sick, just must be allergies or something like that. Headaches and brain fog. And okay. So it was so funny because there's, as you guys know, right, every week I have these ideas percolating that we talk about. And, last week we talked about authority figures, right, and how we hand our power over to them without even realizing what we're doing. And that we, operate from these default places sometimes. And I've got a couple other things that have been percolating and they just haven't completely formed themselves. You guys know how thorough I am when I do these Monday night get-togethers. And I always like to have, right, the questions or the plan or the support tools to shift us through something, even if it's a change in mindset, like how we look at it and what are those questions. And that just hasn't completely finished cooking with some of these other ideas that I have. And particularly with the brain fog, that hasn't helped either. So it was funny. Still, as of yesterday, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow night. I hadn't written anything. And I was like, I want to do something a little lighter, something a little, more fun. And I was getting in the shower and I was like, oh, let's do energy tools. I know that isn't something that we've done a lot on here. We did it a little bit with the animals. And of course, there's always some energy tools that kind of go in when we're talking about behaviors and how to shift the energy around those. But these are going to be some specific tools that I use constantly. And they're foundational energy tools that can make dramatic changes in your life. And these are tools that I normally teach in a class. And tonight you're going to get them for free. So woohoo, who doesn't love free stuff? And here's the thing. These tools are intended to be fun and useful. This is not to be like crazy hard homework where you're like, I got to do the tools. Nothing I teach you guys is ever supposed to be like that. We want to, and this is from my own experience and my own operating system, that we try to infuse some lightness in it. And the truth is, it's all a process, especially if you're new to any of this. And it gets to be fun when we're learning what our superpowers are. I also invite you to teach your friends or show them this video from tonight, because the truth is that when we're going through something, Like when we're in the middle of processing or, anything that's going on, we forget to use the tools. Even myself, even other practitioners that I know, we forget because we're in the midst of the roller coaster or being hit by the waves, drowning in the ocean. And when we teach these things to our friends, they can then reflect it back to us. They can, use the tools and be like, is this yours? Or, find some questions in there to ask you so that you can start to shift some of it. So none of this is secret squirrel info. We want everyone to have this information because we're all on this planet together, and the more fun and the easier we can make it, let's do that. So teach your friends. Okay. Particularly the one I'm going to teach you tonight that is this yours? Like that one, I know better. And I still forget to ask myself that stuff and that tool, that question. And someone will say to me, is this even yours? And I'll be like, son of a, no, it's not mine. Because you can't fix and process what's not yours. Doesn't work that way. You clear it and then you move on with your day. Okay. So everybody take a big deep breath. I'm super excited. Can you tell? Like you already feel the energy flowing. I love teaching this stuff. So I got to ground myself a little bit because the brain fog. Okay. So the first tool that I teach everyone, and believe it or not, this is actually a tool that is not taught very often. Like I was surprised in classes I've taken. I was like, oh, y'all. So it's one that I'm really passionate about. And for me and how I see the world and how I teach, and you guys know how I am about seeing behavior and all that kind of stuff. Like this is really one of those core things of where it comes from. So the first step is knowing your own energy. And we're not talking about putting yourself in a bubble. We're not talking about boxing. We're not talking about shielding, like all those kind of other things that people teach in the beginning, because until you know what you feel like, until you know what your energy, your essence, your vibe, whatever word you have in there is specific to you, your frequency, you're not going to know if you've taken on someone else's, because how can you tell the difference? If you don't know, so if I didn't know what Alicia felt like, if I didn't know what it felt like in my body to be me, the essence of me, I would never be able to tell if I've walked into a room and sucked in someone else's energy, if there's entities around, if I've picked up an entity, because we're lacking a very foundational core piece of information. And so one of the cool things, and you guys know this about everything I teach, right? Really what one of the themes that runs underneath is really getting to know ourselves. And so this is one of the things, is knowing your own energy. If you live and function from a place of trauma and drama, what do you think your energy is doing? It's doing the same thing. So it's really hard to be able to know like what you feel like. And I know we've all had those experiences. You've been where someone comes in a room, right? And their energy is all over the place. And they're just unaware. Like this is never a place of judgment. This is never a place of doing it wrong. This is never a place of you need to be different. This is about for ourselves, where our own peace and calm can come from in this crazy, crazy world, right? And I mean, I do that. I splat. What if I'm in fear, or if I'm having a bad day, or if I don't feel well, I know my energy is all over the place. So I wanted to, one of the people in the chat, if you wouldn't mind, telling me what the acronym means, just so I can, because someone was saying that they still don't know what they themselves feel like. And then there's an acronym that's CPTSD. And I just don't know off the top of my head what that means. And if you're willing to share, you don't have to. Everything here is voluntary. But I would love to be able to understand what it is that you are specifically that affects your ability to know who you are, in case there's something that I can help with that. And if not, that's fine too. Okay. So, okay. So education for tonight, CPTSD. I didn't get the C part because I was like, I can't be PTSD. So she's saying that it's chronic post-traumatic stress syndrome. Yes. And I know a lot of people, including myself, can relate to that, right? You guys know a lot of my, medical things and my head injuries and, the PTSD and Oh, yes. Actually, thank you so much for putting there. Also compounded, right? If we've had abusive relationships, if we've had health challenges, like all those kind of things that are traumatic that happen throughout our lifetime, when they're compounded, right, we can get stuck in the PTSD cycles. And that happens. And a lot of it can be healed. Sometimes all of it, sometimes layers, sometimes it circles back. I had one where I was like, damn, I thought this was gone. What is this? And, someone was like, it's always layers. And I was like, listen, I don't want to hear that right now. I know there's always layers, but I'm going to have my tantrum that I thought this was gone all of the way. And why is it showing up right now? So, so this is one of those places where we really, and like I said, it's supposed to be fun and light, and becoming aware of our own energy is one of those practices where it does take quiet. It doesn't take lots of quiet. You guys know I'm a terrible meditator, so I'm never going to be like, look, you need to sit down and meditate for 30 minutes because I don't do that. I get my bars run instead. But it does take the quiet, even if it's just a couple of minutes a day, of where we sit down, stand, like whatever it is for you, that we go, okay, I'm just going to get quiet in my mind and in my body, because this isn't a mind process. It's like, we're going to get quiet in our body. And what it would look like for me is, okay, so how does Alicia feel today? How do I feel in my body? What's my energy like? Like, does it feel like just me, or am I, do I've got some hidden drama going on? Do I got some energy leaks of like, oh, I'm over there and I'm over there. And it's like, I want to bring myself back to just my body, right? Want to bring ourselves in our body. And I just want to get a sense of myself. Now, like I said, it's light, it's fun, it's practice. We don't want it to ever be like, oh, I don't know what I feel like. That's okay. Particularly if you are new to this, that is okay. If you have the intention that you want to start to know what your own energy feels like, it's going to happen. And if you're willing to practice it a little bit, it's like you guys always tell me, like to hear me say it's like exercising, right? Got to start with the 1 pound weight. So if you're like, oh, I'm just all over the place, I don't know, that's okay. That's normal. When people are learning this stuff, that's where everybody usually is. And I love it. Like, my favorite thing when I do intuitive mentoring, my favorite thing is newbies. They are just so cute and adorable. And they're like, what is happening? And I get that it's scary for them. And I know what's on the other side. Like, I love being able to show them how cool their gifts are and how it actually changes their life once they learn what to do with them. Because otherwise we're just a bunch of people, like that's how it was with me. I was like, I either have some really cool abilities or there's something tragically wrong with me. and this is not good. And we vacillate back and forth before we really, come to terms and develop and realize what our gifts are. And everybody has them. Everybody has intuition. The level of development is all personal choice. So when we start to become aware of our own energy, so that starts to look like, how do you feel in your body? Like, just taking a quick inventory, like, ooh, kind of feel like I'm grounded today, or I'm not, or I got some pain, or like, no, this is the essence of me. And we talked a little bit, I can't remember which week it was, about learning to talk to our bodies. And that is one of the things that I teach people, but this is the place we get to practice that also. So what does your energy feel like in your body? Yes, breathing, someone's putting in the chat, like breathing is really, really helpful when checking your energy. I'm a terrible breather. I'm a short breather. I'm not a deep breather. Part of that's physical from some energies. Others, just my neurotic personality. So yes, I practice deep breathing, and it can very much help you go, oh, okay, what is my energy in here? And you start to look at like your personal energetic space. Some people call that, your aura. Feel how far out your energy is. Like, is it really leaking everywhere? Is it expanded? Is it constricted? Usually when we're stressed or worried, right, we talk about our energy constricting. So you start to pay attention to that. And you get to ask your body and your intuition, higher self, like God, source, universe, whatever your words are, the questions of like, is this my energy? And this is where we go with it also, because it's one of the tools of where I start to teach left brain empaths, which are what I call people like myself who are super analytical and super empathic. Is this my thought? Because believe it or not, energy is tied to thoughts. And when I'm teaching it to left brain empaths, a logical thought has a different energy than an intuitive thought. And so if you're like me a little bit, then this is a really helpful tool. And even if you're not a left brain empath, like this is a really helpful tool also. Is this my emotion? And is this my feeling? Because feelings and emotions are actually two different things. I know we use the words interchangeably, but they are actually two different things. Some of the other stuff that we want to do is start to notice, like, how does your energy feel throughout the day? Notice what affects it going up, and notice what it's like when it starts to go down. And there's the happiness list that we've talked about in the past, right? That kind of ties into this here. It's so funny. This is like a 4-hour class I'm trying to fit in 30 minutes here. So I'm trying to just teach like the core 3 or 4 tools that I start with. So I'm trying to just cram it all in here. And how does your energy feel like when you're in different places and when you're around different people? Right? Like that's one for me that's how I constantly move throughout my day. That's how I decide who I'm going to talk to and who I'm not going to talk to. Is I read energy constantly. And so when you're looking throughout the day, what makes it go up, what makes it go down. When I start to teach this to people who are new, I tell them to use a scale of 1 to 10. So when you wake up in the morning, be like, okay, where am I today on the scale of, and listen, no judgment. We don't do this with judgment. So if you're having a 2-day, it's fine. Not that I've ever judged myself for having a 2-day. It's when we have like a 2-month that we might want to start looking at some stuff. And that's where the happiness list, right? Those 40 things that if you want to raise your vibration, here's a really cool list that you could go to and like pick one of the things. You can get it free on my website. So you start on a scale of 1 to 10 and be like, oh, I'm at an 8 or I'm at a 4. And it just helps us with that awareness, right? So it's just the beginning of starting to become aware of ourselves in a different way. And this is really, this starts to change everything because it's such a domino effect. So don't stress. This isn't one of those where I've got to get it right every day. Oh, I can't tell. It will happen. I promise you, if you stick with it and you keep your awareness open, just be willing to be aware. That will start to shift some things. And so we look at, okay, 1 to 10. Oh, I went someplace and it dropped me down. Like there, if I go into certain stores where there's a lot of people or it's just a lower vibration store, yeah, it can have an effect on my capacity and my own personal energy, right? And then I might start to get cranky, or I might, and the reason we look at this is not that anything else outside of us has to change. It's so that my experience through the day, right? Like I want to have a good day because I'm choosing to, not because the world says you're supposed to have a good day every day. It's because I feel better. My body feels better when my vibration is higher. The people are around me, I enjoy them more, right? And they get the experience of me being a higher vibration versus crabby. And crabby's fine too. It's all a balance. So we start on that scale of 1 to 10 also, of like, just gives us some kind of quantitative, tangible place to start, because a lot of this stuff that we're talking about is kind of ethereal in the beginning until you start to really feel in your body and be like, oh, well, this feels like me. Yes, this is me. So when we start to become aware of that, that is the first tool that I teach everyone. And not even like just in an energy class, like it could be in any kind of session. Someone comes to me and I'm like, look, this is where we got to start with this. Okay. So awesome. People are excited to be here. I love when you're here. So the next tool, and this ties in so much with knowing our own energy. It's one of those like chicken egg, like which one do you teach first? But I teach the other one first because I really believe it's the core of where we start. So the next tool is, we call it light or heavy, right? So we're checking the energy of something. So light, if it feels light, it's true for you. It's a match. If it feels heavy, it's a lie or is something that's not a match. And I use this constantly. This is how I move through the world. It's so integrated, and this is how it becomes, that you don't even recognize it sometimes. And like I said, if I'm at a meetup or if I'm at a group thing, I'll literally be like, okay, I want to go talk to that person. That one feels light. Ooh, that one feels a little heavy. No judgment on the people. Everyone's got stuff going on, whatever. But this is more of a match for me right now. So I'm going to go talk to that person, or I'm going to go stand in this part of the room, or, I'm going to do whatever. So this light or heavy, when it's a match, it has that expansive, it makes you smile like, ooh, yeah, I really kind of want to do that. Has this lightness to it. It's also when you can tell something is true. It's for empaths and other people. This is one of the ways we tell, when someone's lying. We have this natural lie detector ability. And this is part of it. If it's heavy, it's not a match, right? If you're like, oh, that is the last thing that I want to do. Okay. And it may be that it's just not a match in that moment, or it could be that it's not a match at all. And then we get to ask questions along there also, right? So it's always broken down. So it's like, use this tool of, do I want to go to this event? Light or heavy? Do I want to wear this shirt? Light or heavy? Do I want to eat this? Light or heavy? Like, right? Sometimes if I'm hungry and I happen to be out, so I'm like, grab food. I'm like, okay, body, what is it that we want? Like, and things will pop through and I'll be like, ooh, not that. That's heavy. No. Oh, this one. That's how the light or heavy works. Like, it doesn't, like I said, this homework, these tools, it's not supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be like, oh, I got to get it right. I got to get it right. We get to have this fun in it. And it's okay if you don't know. If you're like, ooh, is that light? Is that heavy? It takes time, takes practice, and that's okay. So, like I said, do I want to talk to this person? Do I want to take this job? Now, for other introverts out there, like myself, I have a secondary question. So if you ask yourself, if you want to go do something, right, that requires you to leave the house, and it feels heavy, a follow-up question is this truly heavy, or is it my resistance? Because I guarantee you, I can easily talk myself into staying in the house. So it is, one of the attributes of introvertness is sometimes it can feel heavy, but it's our resistance to wanting to be social, and the universe is wanting us to go do this thing. It is an actual match for our being, right? But our human side, our personality gets in the way sometimes. Not that I ever get in my own way. So that secondary question, that follow-up question, and it's not just for introverts. It's just, I know it shows up for us more than, other categories, for lack of a better word, of other people. Is this truly heavy, or is it my resistance? And it's always funny when you get that it's the resistance, and then you're like, all right, fine, I'll go. I'll go do this thing. And usually, like I said, there's more to these, more comprehensive teaching I do around these, but I just wanted to give you guys, some place to start tonight in the short period of time that we have. I love that light and heavy is resonating with people. It, like I said, it is one of those things where it's like light, heavy, and sometimes if you're looking at something that's a little bit bigger, or even something where you're not sure, we break it down. So it might not just be like, oh, do I want to go to this event? Because maybe that's, and you're not sure. So it's like, okay, do I want to go to the event at all? And you get a light. And then you're like, okay, do I want to go to the event for 2 hours? So we start to break it down into really getting clear on what is a match for us. Or for me, like if I'm going to be working on a project, or creating something for the business, it's even how I do this every week, where I'm like, okay, what subject are we is this light, heavy? I'm like, business, what do we want to do? And we can break it down of like, okay, say something that I'm creating has got like 6 pieces to it, right? And so, like, let's say when I took on teaching myself SEO, right, the search engine optimization, a lot of pieces. That was a lot of stuff. it was a lot of stuff. So every day I would look at it and be like, okay, these are the categories. Which one of those feels light for me to do today? And that's how I work through my to-do list. That's how I work through my business, is I look at it and go, what feels light? And it's like, okay, that's the one that I'm supposed to do today. Because when we pick something that's heavy, as we've talked about in the past, you'll notice, right? It takes longer. Things aren't flowing. You're like, why isn't this working the way I want it to? Well, because it's not the time for that one. So that's how I go through my list. That's how I go through my day. That's how even fun stuff, business stuff, work stuff, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like, what feels light or heavy to do today? And that's how I do my list, or for the week. I hope that's making sense, because like I said, this lighter heavy, we use it everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Okay. So then, oh my gosh, we're almost out of time. There's just so much I want to teach you. Okay. So the other one, a third tool, and this is super helpful. This was life-changing for me when I learned this one. I was like, where has this been my whole life? The one that I'm going to talk about tonight is a specific tool that is created by Access Consciousness. It's their process. There's tons of clearing processes out there like this. This is just one that I learned and has stuck with me. And it's really quick and easy. So there's a YouTube video on it. Okay, what's the actual name of the tool? Who does this belong to? Because I call it something else. So it's called Who Does This Belong To? You can YouTube it. There's a ton of videos. The one that I like the best is the one where Dr. Dane here is like sitting in a gondola, like he's in like Venice or something. It's shorter. He gets right to the point with walking you through the tool. I'm going to walk you through it here tonight, but if you want to see an actual video on it. So it's called Who Does This Belong To? I shorthand it and call it Return to Sender, because that's mostly what you do with it. And this is for everything. This is, thoughts, feelings, emotions, pains in your body, projections, anything that is going on. And so it starts with the 3 questions. First question is this mine? And this is where the lighter heavy comes into place, because you'll get a yes or no. And if you don't get a yes or no, you'll get a lighter heavy feeling, right? Because sometimes you just, depending on how your intuition comes in, you'll get a feeling, you'll be like light, heavy. So if you get that it's yours, there's a clearing that you can run. I believe it's in the video. I'm going to say it here, so we'll have it also. So if you get that it's yours, you're like, oh yes, this is mine. And I want to shift the energy around this. I want to clear it so that I can see clearly what the universe is trying to tell me here. So the clearing is everywhere I've bought this is real and true and brought it into my body. I destroy and uncreate it all. And then you'll feel the lightness. And sometimes we've got to run it a few times for the energy to shift. So like I said, first question is this mine? If you get a no, that it's not yours, it's someone else's. Majority of the time, this is what's going on. Majority of the time, we picked up someone else's stuff. Thought, feeling. For those of us that are really sensitive, I can pick stuff up on the other side of the planet. I'll be like, what is happening in China today? Because I just don't feel right. So because energy, it connects us all. And it always cracks me up that, we hear so many times that energy, right? Energy work, energy healing, energy is all woo woo. It's not. Energy is science. We all know Einstein, right? Theory of relativity, energy, MC squared, right? Energy is science. Everything on this planet feels energy. So it's this place of, like we talked about before, right? Every thought, every emotion, every feeling has energy connected to it. It has a vibration. And so we pick that up. Our bodies are these magnificent feeling, sensation vessels. And they've got, we got touch, taste, smell, hearing, sight, right? Like it's sensory. It picks up all of this stuff, and it picks up all the stuff around us. So majority of the time, it's not ours. And so what the tool says to do is that if it is someone else's, you simply say, verbally, non-verbally, inside, right? Return to sender with consciousness attached. The reason that we add the consciousness attached, because you can say it without that, is that it then provides an opportunity, provides space for the person who it does belong to have some awareness around it so that they can start to shift it for themselves. This is one of the things when I used to teach this, people used to feel bad and feel guilty, like, oh, no, I don't want to send it back to them because then they're going to feel bad. I'm like, no, it's already theirs. You're not doing anything to them. They've already created it. You're just feeling it. So sending it back to them with consciousness attached adds that energy of like possibly creating some space for them to shift it on their own. So there isn't a place where you're doing something to them in this. You just happen to be picking up on their stuff. So we want to, as Abraham Hicks says, want to change that radio station. And there are you'll feel the lightness. And sometimes you've got to run it a couple of times, particularly in the beginning, or, this kind of stuff where you're like, oh, I'm not so sure. Run it, return to sender, return to sender. There are places that I go that are low vibration. If I've got to run into a particular stores, and especially during the pandemic, oh my God, I said it out loud the entire time I was in there. Like, I'm with my shopping cart, like, return to sender, return to sender, return to sender, because there was so much. And I was like, I just need toilet paper and water and milk, right? It's like, and in order for me to be able to function and come out of that store okay, I literally had to say it out loud, like a mantra. And so this is that place of, we don't want to, it's no fun when we're sucking in stuff that's not ours. Like, we've got our own stuff going on, right? We got our own lives we're trying to live and have peace and calm and create and happiness and love and all that good stuff. Bringing in someone else's feelings and their trauma and drama, it doesn't help. So we want to release those when we can. And this tool, like I said, it's super helpful. That's why I call it return to sender. Because for me, I just run that part. I skip I want you to learn it the proper way, right? One, we honor the creators of the tool, and learn it the proper way so that you know what the process is. Because I run it a little bit different now. Is I run return to sender, like I clear, and then I look at what's left. And then I go, is this mine? Is this mine? Not mine. And I get a little more specific in it, but I just run the blanket return to sender first, which is why I forget what the actual name of the tool is, which is, who does this belong to? So, and this can change so many things. There have been times where I have been in a situation that felt like the past. I remember a couple of years ago when I had a roommate, and I was like, for like a week and a half, I was like living in the past of when I was in my apartment. And I was like, why? This is years ago. Like, why do I feel like that? This doesn't make any sense. And I didn't catch it because those original feelings were mine. But what was actually underneath was someone else's. And right, a friend said to me, is that even yours? And I was like, it was one of those son of a bitch moments, right? And I was like, no. And I ran the tool, and all of that lifted. All of that past feelings, all of that confusion, all of that brain fog, all of those feelings, because they weren't mine. There wasn't something that I needed to work through. It wasn't something that I needed to process. It wasn't another layer. It just simply wasn't mine. And when we clear it, it goes away, and we're left with just us, right? It's like the fog clears. So that's why I get so passionate about this tool, because it really, really is life-changing. And with the way the world is now, we're picking up so much stuff. There's just so much turmoil in the world, that when you're picking that up, and it affects everything. So we want to clear it. We want to send it back, return to sender. And there's a third part to this tool of, if you go, is this mine? And you get a no. And then you say, is this someone else's? And you get a no. The third part is this something else? And the Access Consciousness tool is specifically talking about the earth, right? For me, when I go, is this something else? There's other categories that I start to look at, because I have capacities with entities and spirits, and, I'm a medium. And so is it someone who's passed? Like, I got bigger categories there, but because we're talking about this particular tool, the way that they set it up, they're specifically talking about the earth, because the earth does need energy from us sometimes, right? It's this back and forth, this give and take that we have with this planet that most people don't really pay attention to. And those of us who are more aware and developed in this know that it is a symbiotic mutuality relationship. And so if you do get that the tool, or that it is the earth that is requiring something, then you just simply ask, okay, what is it that you require of me, earth? What can I contribute to you? Sometimes it just needs a little energy, just a little shot down to the earth there. So I'm so thrilled that these tools are resonating with all of you. And when I was thinking about it earlier, I was like, oh, I'm gonna add more in. Like, I'm not gonna have enough time. And now we're already past time, and I've given you a crash course in 3 of them. So, okay. So what are our tools that we learned tonight? And teach your friends, show them the video. Is 1, becoming aware of what our own energy feels like, becoming aware of what our own essence, that is our vibration of us in this lifetime on this planet, right? So who is Alicia right now? Who is any of the other people that are on here right now? And this is one of those feelings that I have a hard time putting into words. This creates so much. There's so much that comes from this that it's the coolest thing, that you'll just see it start to integrate everywhere in your life. And these awarenesses will start to pop and you'd be like, ooh, that's not mine. Or, ooh, this feels like me. Oh, this feels really great. Is this what I feel like when I'm doing something that I absolutely love? Right. It's just, it brings that awareness to it. And so becoming aware of our own energy. The second is the light or heavy, right? This the most powerful tool. It's just one of those things that you want to really, really learn and have fun with and practice. If you're like, oh, I don't, like maybe you don't want to start out with like, oh, should I take this job promotion? Or, oh, should I get married? Right? Like, let's not start out with like those big decisions. If you're new to this tool, like, let's just start with some easy stuff. Like, do I want to eat the pizza? Do I want to leave the house? Do I, want to go to this party? Do I want to go to the movies? Right? Like, start with something that's got a little less emotional attachment to it. And that will also help with clarity, right? Because when we do have an emotional attachment in there, it can make some of this a little cloudy, which is then why we break it down into more specific questions. And then the third tool is, who does this belong to? So these are 3 life-changing tools. I promise you, I use them constantly, and they have made a massive, massive difference in my life for years now. I've used these tools for years and years and years. And if no one were to ever learn anything else, like if you were to never learn any other energetic tool, these 3 will serve you. These are such foundational tools that create so much, and so many things get created from them, that these 3 will totally change your life. Okay. So, oh gosh, I want to keep going, but I can't because we're out of time. So that is all for tonight. I hope you guys had a great time. You know how much I love connecting with you. And I know we haven't done something fun like this in a while. I know we did some exercises when we did the animal, when I talked about animals at night, and we did some energetic exercises for our animals. And for those of you that haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it. It's on YouTube or podcast. Animals are the masters of energy. If you have a pet or an animal, you're going to want to do it. You're going to want to watch it. It's lots of fun and you will learn a ton. So that's all for tonight. I'm so sad. I was having such a good time. Okay. Join me again next Monday. And if there are people that you want to share this with, the video will be uploaded to the YouTube channel tonight, right under Alicia Sweezer. Subscribe, like, share, all of the things. And all of these links are in the event listing, wherever that you happen to join, whether it's Facebook, Meetup, all these links are in there. And if you can't find them, shoot me an email and I'll send them to you. And as always, you can start finding them, for Core Place is my website, whoknewhealing.com, new with a K. So who knew with a K, healing.com. Thank you so much for people are popping that in the chat for me. Thank you. Because I'm talking and I can't type and talk tonight because I'm super chatty because I love teaching this stuff. Thank you all. I'm glad this so resonated with all of you and that these tools were super helpful and that you enjoyed all of this. As always, thank you to everyone who's donated to my Cosmic Tip Jar. It allows me to create more free things like this. If anyone feels led to do so, links are in the event listing. There's multiple options. And as always, if anything I talked about tonight makes you want to learn more, reach out, book a session, schedule your free discovery call. Let's see what we can create together, because this is one of the things that I do in intuitive mentoring is I love teaching this stuff and these tools, because I have all these, right? I'm a life coach, mentor, animal communicator, like these tools work everywhere. You guys know that everything that I teach is connected. It really, really is. And so I love that whenever I do one of these, it shows up in so many places. So you're not missing anything, right? If you're like, oh, I've only ever seen this piece or that piece, you're not, it's all connected. You're going to be fine. All of this stuff is on the YouTube, or if you're a listener podcast now, it's all there for prosperity. You can go back and watch it, and lots of info on my website also. So that is all for tonight. Oh my gosh, it went by so fast. We'll see what gets created next week. Like I said, I have some ideas cooking, and we'll see what the universe says. Because like I said, up until about noon yesterday, I was like, starting to feel the pressure a little bit. Like I know it's going to happen and I trust, but I would feel better if I had an idea of what I was going to do. So we'll see what gets created for next week. And as always, if you guys have ideas, like I said, I know you guys want me to talk about expectations. That one is still cooking. It hasn't finished yet. I haven't got all of how I want to format it and talk about it. And I think it's going to be it's more than one Monday night, because there's expectations for ourselves and expectations of others and all this kind of stuff. So we shall see what happens. Thank you all so much. Have a great week, and I will see you all next Monday. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.